Take time. All right, call to order. Casson Park Board, Tuesday, July 18th, 2017. And everybody go over the minutes from June.
Yes.
Need a motion to approve them.
Also move, since my name's all over them, so.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor for approving the June 2017 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved. So down to new business. Casson Aquatic Center update?
Update on the Aquatic Center. So far things have been pretty good as far as being run. We've had, actually about 9 days in June where we had temperatures 72 degrees or less, which was quite surprising. That hurt our income. So right now, Nancy gave me an update. We're about 15,000 down from where we were last year right now to this date for income and for the expenses what we had put out. So we've had some good days here in July. That was the June situation. So July we've had some busy days, so hopefully we've been able to make up some of that difference, whatever. One of the reasons too, again, of course, we've had 14 incidents already and we're only halfway through the season. We had 4 fecal incidents, we've had 4 vomits, and we've had 6 chlorine issues. So, and sometimes chlorine issues is due because either a coordinator gets plugged or we have a high volume of people in there and it's hot and it eats up the chlorine, and then we gotta go back up there and turn up the chlorine. And we put stabilizer in it to do as much as we can with it. But once we throw stabilizer in it, it can sometimes affect the pH, then the pH goes down, and it's a continuous babysitting ordeal. I will tell you that right, plain simple, as ifs or buts. 3 months of having that thing open, it is babysit continuously, maintenance-wise. So when you hear that the pool is closed because of a vomit, or you hear it's closed for 24 hours because someone had diarrhea in the pool, that's the way it goes. Under state health, we have to do what we gotta do. So it is what it is. So when we have them incidents, we have no income coming in when it's closed. So just to let you know. And what it compares to other pools, I talked to the lady over in Waseca and they've had 8 incidents already. It happens to every facility, so we're not just the only one. I think last year Stewartville had 15 at the end of the year. So it does happen, so I just wanna let everybody know.
Well, at least the way you said it tonight now, it sounds more accidental to me.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
when you say diarrhea instead of the fecal, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it sickens you that you think it's intentional, but
Right.
you know, people can't help it when they have an accident either.
Yep, and this year it kinda surprised me, 4 vomits, so that's kinda
Yeah.
almost just as bad as the diarrhea thing, because it's gotta be disinfected, you know, so that's basically, I just wanted to give you an update on that part of it, okay, as far as the pool goes. Hopefully now the numbers come back in a little bit better here for July, and I do know that we've had some great days in July, some hot days, and I do know that our concession stand has been selling like gangbusters. We had, the last couple of weeks, we've had the truck come 2-3 times during the week, so we've been doing very good. So that's a good part. As far as anything else, the aquatic center, the ladies down here at the Anytime Fitness has been running their classes. It's been going good. People have been showing up, probably on an average between 5 to 8 of them showing up for the class. There was a couple incidents where one incident, I should say, one day that the worker didn't get there till 7:05 to open up, and I got a phone call from one of the early morning swimmers for lap swim, and I made sure that wasn't going to happen again. As far as what we discussed last month about the life jackets, we're in the process of putting together how we're going to be able to do the life jacket thing, where we're going to put it at, how the rules are gonna be written up, signage will have to be done. Once we get that together, which we will have together here soon, then we'll bring it back to the park board, and then you guys can look it over, okay it, we'll recommend it back to the council, and then, make sure our signage and everything is put into place. The sad thing about it is that more likely it may not probably happen till probably next year, but, we wanna make sure, that we got everything, our i's dotted, our t's crossed, make sure that we are all on the same page, the staff is on the same page, everybody's, because this will be a little bit new thing to us, but, we'll make sure that's all put together. I know Elizabeth did call me again and, gave me an email and stuff with some other, suggestions on other things too, and, so, basically, I think really basically talking to some of the lifeguards and some of the managers, that I think we're gonna just probably specifically be apt to one area where we're gonna use the life jackets. And they definitely said this for sure, that the parent has to be in the water. We had an incident 3 days ago. Mother come up, she was sitting on the white chair, and her 2-year-old was in the pool by himself, and they had this unimproved sponge swimsuit thing. Next thing you know, Josh seen it, jumped in, grabbed a hold of the little boy. The boy was choking. He brought the boy over, and the mother seen Josh had him in his hands, and she got mad at Josh for touching her baby. Come unglued. Said, "What are you doing with my child? What are you touching my child for?" Josh said, "I just saved your child." And then she just totally went different. She started apologizing, said, "Oh my gosh," after Josh told her what had happened. So, things like that happen. Josh, she felt very bad for what she said to Josh and how she jumped on him and stuff like that. So, we do know that, like I say, even though, whatever, we have this new rule implemented, and I know Elizabeth understands it, parents gotta take responsibility for the children. They have to, because it happens so fast, and, like I say, it happened during that 10:30 to 11:30 parent-taught hour, and the mom was just sitting on one of the white chairs. She just turned her back, walked over to sit down, and it happened that fast. And he was faced first, and he couldn't get over it. He wasn't touching his little legs wasn't even touching the ground to move. So I just wanted to let you guys know that happened, but things worked out fine. But there is things, like I say, we wanna make sure we got it set right, and how we're gonna do this, and where we're gonna do it and stuff, so I'm glad you were here, Elizabeth, 'cause I wanted to let you, it just happened a couple days ago. I think Josh came up to City Hall and even told you guys and the city administrator about the situation too, so just to let you know on that part of it. The aquatic center, other than that, I think everything has been going good. We have a year-end, big swim meet for all the other towns, that'll be in August. We only have one this year. They wanted more, but we only decided to go with one. Remember, for festival in the park, we will close, and then, have the, belly flop contest, remember that. We'll bring in, maybe some bleachers or something closer in, for everybody can kinda watch that. And other than that, I think, we really haven't had any other really major issues. I mean, it's been a pretty good summer so far as everything else. So I just wanted to give everybody an update and ask if there's any questions or any concerns that you guys have heard or anything about the pool. So far? Okay. Do you need to add anything, Elizabeth, since you're here? Did you want to add anything?
No, I didn't really have anything to add. I just wanted to, because I was the person that really brought this up, I wanted to be here if it was, I didn't know how much was gonna be discussed.
Okay.
So, I just wanted to be here for that. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this, and,
Yep.
I think it's important. I know it's good, and like I said in my email, I know something like this is gonna take time to implement and get it right.
Yeah, we just wanna make sure we got everybody on the same page and
Yeah.
get it, So, yeah, well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
Ingrid.
I'm
So-
sorry, I am gonna sneak out, that's
That's
my
fine.
son's birthday, so.
That's no
They're
problem.
waiting to go to dinner.
That's what I'm with.
Yeah, okay.
No problem.
All right,
Thanks for
thank
coming.
you.
You bet.
you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So anything else on the pool? Okay,
When you do the life jackets, you're gonna try it as a trial basis, or is it gonna be like for the whole summer, or
well, I
what?
think we're gonna really limit it to the zero
Sorry, that
depth.
was my question too.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah.
just heard it as I was walking out, and that was one question I
Yeah.
had as well.
We are gonna limit it to the zero depth to the rope
Mhm.
on that area, and like I said, I think so far what we've discussed, that parent has to be in with the water, in the parent no matter what. There will be no other life jackets in the lap pool or nothing like that. The only nights that'll occur will be family night, of course, when then the life jackets are allowed with other children. But like I say, we're gonna just go with it, and we're gonna not, probably as a trial basis, we're just gonna go with it, and we'll see how it all works. And, hopefully, it works good. I've heard, I called up, Owatonna,
Mhm.
I talked to the lady over there, and they've had no problems with it. But they do keep it to a limited area
Yeah.
when they do their jackets. And they've had no problem, they implemented here, I think about 4 years ago, she said, and they've had nothing but good feedback from the parents. But they do the same thing, she said that the parent has to be with
Yeah,
the child.
yeah.
Yep,
So easy.
so that'd probably be about right, so, okay?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good
question.
Other than that, anything else? We're just kinda working out the ins and outs about how we're gonna do the Coast Guard approved life jacket thing, where they've got to check in, that's gonna be the key. That's what Josh and the supervisors are worried about. You know, someone comes in, says, pass, membership, you know, and then all of a sudden they come with a bag, which mothers come with their big bags, and then pull out a life jacket and doesn't get checked by one of our people. See what I'm saying? That's the only thing that kinda worries me.
Is it something that they could tie a,
I was just gonna say that.
oh, well then I'll let you say it.
No, go ahead, no, keep going.
You know, tie a
But, yeah.
ribbon, tie a, something yellow or something, just to note that a lifeguard there, that day checked that life vest. Whether, you know, if somebody's in the pool and doesn't have something on it, you bring a kid out, I wanna make sure this is adequate or not.
Yeah, and I think we could do that, and that's no problem if it gets checked at the window. But what they're worried about is the parent that brings the big bag in with the towel, and they throw the little life jacket in there, and it's a little baby, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden she doesn't get checked at the window with it, and then puts it on the baby, next thing you know, the baby's in the pool, and it ain't an approved
Well, that's
thing.
where, is there a lifeguard that kinda walks?
They do, but,
You know.
but then again, now, are we gonna, like Josh made a valid point, are we gonna set another person in that area?
Just
Do we have
patrol.
just
Well-
to control that?
I think once, say you take a yellow zip tie, and once it's on that life jacket and the zip tied on, you know, somewhere visible, as long as that can be seen or has been seen, you know,
That has to be on the
on the life jacket.
On the life
life jacket that they're using.
Right.
And if they see one without it, say, okay, I need to have this kid come out right away because
Yeah.
mom did pull it out, it didn't get checked.
Yeah.
Something, you know, there's yellow ones, there's neon orange ones, there's, just as an eye point, maybe it's always on the left side or something.
Yeah, and the biggest
Left
thing
shoulder.
that we're kinda worried about too, and Josh was saying this, you know, the 10:30, 11:30, no big deal. It doesn't get that busy and you can see a lot. What's gonna happen is on a day when we have 572 kids in there, and we got a bus load, and we got mothers that have brought up their children, and it's packed, and we got little kids flying all over the place, that's what they're nervous about. Cause you can't watch
Hey, Ron?
everything.
Have you thought anything about, guidelines for the number of kids with life jackets you let in for each member of
Yeah, we talked about that
of
too.
your supervisor
We talked
staff?
about that too, but then all of a sudden, say somebody comes from Rochester and that stuff, and they have that, and then they're number 10, and we only allow, say, 10 of them in, and they're number 11, and we say, well, you can't have your little one in there. And they've come and they've paid their money. We've dealt with that issue before about, so
You gonna have signage to that effect
we
at all?
have to have all kinds of signage put up. That's why this can't be just a bing, bing, bing thing. We gotta figure it all out, figure out how we're gonna do it.
you know, the part I envision, Sunday you show up, you got 40 kids in the pool, and you got one person trying to watch 40 little bodies in there.
And that's
That
the whole
isn't
thing
gonna
about,
fly.
that's the whole thing about the pool. We have 9 people on deck, and they have an area that they gotta watch, and they're accounted for that area under state health guidelines. Okay, well, number one, if we start having this life jacket thing, and it gets busy, oh, we're gonna have to put another person on there.
Yes,
That's gonna cost the city more money.
well, it is what it is.
It is what it is, but I'm gonna say that to get this thing right, it may be that we, instead of having 9 on duty, we might have to have an extra person to watch that area.
Just walking in.
Just watch that area, because it's only gonna be an
And
area.
is it more for not that the child is a life vest, is that there's a parent with the child? That's what the patrol's about.
But like I said, there was a typical incident that happened, where this person thought that life jacket that she had on that little kid, that 2.5-year-old kid, was perfect. And she left the 2.5-year-old in that wading pool and went to go sit on a chair? Are you kidding me? And then yell at Josh?
Yeah, and 2 minutes later, she comes back and asks Josh why he's holding her.
Yeah.
Should've thrown her in the pool.
I mean, irresponsible.
Well, and that's a case where, you know, she went to sit down, she was gonna sit down anyway, so it's, again, the
But no,
pool's
the whole
babysitter.
thing is why would you leave your 2.5 in the water?
Absolutely.
Cause she thought he
Tell
was
them to
safe.
wait till I
Because of
put
the
my
life
stuff
jacket,
down.
because of the
Yeah,
life
that's
jacket.
what I said, you know, you put those life jackets on, then parents aren't gonna watch your kids, they're not gonna watch them.
Should we tether them together, parents and the kid?
That's the only problem I see.
3-foot cord?
Yeah. I think it
You know?
upset Josh the most is that she yelled at him for touching the kid.
Yeah.
Until I said, well, I just,
Yeah.
send your kid over, 'cause
I
it's,
suppose he could've walked over and is that your kid floating over there?
Yeah.
Should we do something, or
Yeah.
you wanna go do it? I mean,
Yeah,
You want me to go get him or not?
I mean,
He was upset, wasn't he?
he was, well, I think he was shook up
He
too.
was shook,
You know?
yeah. So, but anyway,
well, I think we're going in the right direction.
we'll,
because I-
we'll get it figured
you know,
out. We'll have to get it figured out, and then we'll go through everything, and we'll get our plan in place, and we'll get it together.
And it does have to be necessary for this year.
That's what I'm saying, it ain't gonna happen this year. I know that for sure.
Are there any, what other pools are there that have this,
Owatonna has it now.
you know, what are their signage, you know, just verifying on what signage do they use, what,
Yeah. Right.
how do they, try to just learn a little bit from them and.
Right. I know, I don't think Sturgill does it. Sturgill does it what we do now, is only family nights. Waseca does it only family nights. They don't do it during public swim. No. So, but anyway, we'll touch that anyway. Anything else on the pool?
All right, move down to Festival in the Park, garbage workers.
I called Josh, that has been doing our garbage detail at the festival for the last, I think, 6-7 years, whatever, Josh Gilbertson, Mallory Fierstead. Mallory's pregnant, so she can't do it, but Josh is gonna do it again, okay? And we had paid him $12 an hour for the previous 2 or 3 years, and I think we should bump it up $1, up to $13. I know our park maintenance kids get that, our workers, our hours get 13. And they do a great job, and they really truly do. I mean, Josh does, and he may end up getting a helper to help him too, but he definitely is in. And, so I think we should see if we can get him up to another $1 more an hour. He averages between 18 to 20 hours for the 2 days. I think we paid him $200 and some or something. That's pretty cheap to keep the grounds cleaned up and the garbage picked up at the festival, so. What do you guys think? You think $1 raise and?
Yeah, he does a
That's
good
cheap.
job.
That's inexpensive.
Yeah.
I think it was like was it $211 we paid him last year? 18 hours or something?
Yeah, 218.
So it'll cost you another $20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's well worth it, I think, unless somebody else wants to volunteer and do it cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't gonna find somebody, so.
No.
So we just make a motion then to
Yeah.
raise Josh's hourly rate to $13 an hour just during the festival in the park.
And if he finds another helper that does with him the same, then
Okay.
they would receive that same amount.
As
Because usually we have 2 people.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, and if he finds a helper, that helper will be paid $13 an hour as well.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve that. All right, second. So we'll Did I just, who second? Nobody seconded yet.
Second.
Second? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so motion carried. All right, down to park project.
Park project, this time of the year, I usually kinda go through half the year here, what we're kinda doing, what we have left to do before winter, and some of the stuff that we are in the process of doing. We have about 10 projects, I hope I can get them all done here before winter sets in, but right now, we're in the process, if anybody hasn't drove by the West Park up there by the library, we tore the bleachers out, got the fountain done, got the fencing down, except for the backstop. We're gonna move the concession stand here either probably tomorrow or Thursday, and that concession stand will be going up to North Park, behind North Park number 1, for future storage and future, sprinkler system control building, where hopefully in the future, North 1, North 2 can get converted into having a sprinkler system to keep our grasses and keep our fields safe, because if you guys had been up there in the last week, them fields were like a rock. And I just cringe on people playing on them fields that way, the infield. It is hard as a rock, they were. And without water, they're rock. We rely on Mother Nature. So, like I say, that's an important safety issue. But anyway, we're gonna move the concession stand this week, hopefully, weather lets us do that. We'll tear out the cement pad, take care of that. Then we're gonna haul in fill. We got a pile of fill over by the school that when they moved their old, building for their, vans and stuff in their old shop, they put it over on a piece of property over there, what we call Camp Casson. There's a pile there, we're gonna take that and use that for the bottom fill. We're gonna make that hill at the West Park more maintenance friendly. We got dirt out there at the shop, we'll haul in and put over top of it, and then we'll seed it. And, we'll probably put some erosion blankets on it, or hydro seed it, and then we'll have that nicely done, it'll look really good. I got, a gentleman coming, our fence guy coming up to look at moving the backstop, which we budgeted. He'll come after the softball season's done, probably after festival, towards the latter part of August, to move the backstop in. We'll cut the infield in about another 10 feet and make that field 60-foot bases, and it'll be just a nice little neighborhood park with a backstop. It'll look really nice up there when it's all said and done. So that's one project. Next project, like I said, we'll move the concession stand. And then we've already poured the pad up there. We've had Sheldon, stone by stone, pour the cement pad, it's already there. We have to reshingle the roof on that, and then put new cedar siding on the building, and then we're gonna sod around the building, just because we don't want mud around it for festival with that softball tournament coming up here, second week in August, so we'll have that pretty much up and done here before festival. We gotta fix the dirt and sod the dirt where we replaced that 22-foot piece of, 12-inch drain tile by the football field that, had washed out and cracked. So we gotta do that before festival to get that done. We're gonna fix the fencing on North 2 ball field, which we budgeted, the chain, the gate, cement has come up, frost has forced that out, and same on the left via foul pole out there, not foul pole, but the corner post is all the same way. And then we budgeted for new posts out in the outfield to replace the C-channel type posts, so we got all that money, and they'll fix that North 2 outfield fence too. Then we gotta construct a new batting cage that, behind North 1 ball field, was purchased by the Joint Ventures Group, the Vanderbilt School District. We have it, we just need to get it put up. That's gotta be done before spring of next year, so hopefully we'll get it done this fall. We gotta add wood fiber to both playground modulars up to Veterans Park before festival. It's probably about 8 inches low. We need to get 2 semi-fulls of wood chips to be backed in there and spread out. We got money for that, so that's gotta get done before festival to make it look good. If anybody hasn't went by the North Park, we edged the volleyball court. Looks really nice. We squared all that off, got all the weeds out of that, and then we took all of our horseshoe pits, took all the old sand out of it, took all the grass out, and re-put all new sand in it. It looked really nice up there again. So that's already done, so we did that already. We gotta finish the steel ceiling in the new park shelter at Veterans Park. We have the steel, we just need to get it put up. We got all the J-channel, all that stuff is all put in already, so that has to be done. We got a landscape around Lions Park sign on County Road 34 and, figure out how we're gonna light that sign. And then possibly still look at the flagpole and stuff there where we planted the trees. We also gotta go out, and I know Terry gave me an email on it, whatever, we're in the process of redesigning the light system up there on that sign out on 14. We're actually gonna bolt something on top of the sign and then use floodlights right next to the facility, instead of the one how we got it mounted on that piece of wood. It doesn't work with the dang, so we already kinda figured out how we're gonna do it, it'll work good. So, we'll get that done too, that's gotta get done to make it look nice up there. So that's done. I know Terry also mentioned that they got $1,000 the Lions do to help put towards the park, and I think that'll help with the landscaping and maybe the flagpole situation. I'll get some pricing on that.
Okay.
So we can let the Lions know that's kinda what one of our
So it's
projects-
landscaping and
and a
flag.
flagpole. Yep, okay. Next thing, we need to put 2 new park signs that we budgeted up yet. One up Veterans Memorial Park, which I wanted to get up before festival, we won't be able to do that. And then another one up East Diamond Park. So we're gonna get them 2 signs, similar sign that we made at Lions Park on 34, to get them 2 up before the end of the year. Get them up, and then of course at the end, we're gonna construct that 9-hole Frisbee golf course and plant the trees. We got $4,000 in trees to be planted at Lions Park. So we got 10 projects, we got a lot of stuff to go on between now and winter. That's besides taking 60 stumps out
It's fair time.
and doing all the mowing and whatever. So, anyway, we're busy. There's not a day that go by that we're busy, so.
Don't know what you're gonna do.
Nope.
Jeez.
So, that's kind of the hard projects that we're doing, so, okay?
Okay. Anybody wanna add anything, questions? Alright, go down to the stump removal.
Which I just talked
Yeah.
about, we'll start that next week. We're gonna probably, take one guy and probably grind stumps at least twice, 2 days a week, for now until then. So hopefully we can get around, between 5 to 8 of them done in a couple days. Maybe sometimes if they're smaller ones, we can get more done. Of course, we grind them, and we'll, pick them up, pick all this stuff up, put dirt back in and reseed it. So we got about 50, I think it was about 58, I think 58 stumps to do. So, our work will be cut out for us to do that, so we'll get that going and get that going. So, we should have that done before winter, no problem, but, just let you know on the stumps for all the ash trees removals and all the stuff we did last year. Okay?
Alright. Okay, down to the 2018 budget review.
Yep. I put 9 things on here. They're big items, but I didn't break down to some of the things of what we need to do. We'll do that here in the month of September, 'cause more than likely, I don't think we're gonna have a meeting next month in August. Okay, park board meeting. We'll come back to August and we'll talk more about the budget and talk about the year end of the pool and stuff like that. And, look forward. So I would say probably don't figure on August. I'm not gonna be around, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be on vacation for a couple of weeks, so I'm gonna be gone. But anyway, after the festival, so just kinda plan on park board the next meeting if everything's okay with everybody in September. Does that work okay? We usually don't have a meeting in June, but I knew I was gonna be gone in August, so, we had the June meeting in July today, and then we'll do the August. But anyway, back to the budget. We got some big items. We talked a little bit about it last month, how are we gonna figure out what we wanna do with the parks? And I kinda threw some big things out there, what I see that has to be looked at either some next year or in the next, say, 2 to 3 years. You got some big budget items. So number 1, adding the playground modular to East Diamond Park. That was a priority to make sure that every one of our parks have a playground modular. Okay, we got one finally out to Meadows. Okay, I hadn't had one for a year. park, where people, instead of going all the way across Highway 57 to go play on a modular, we need to do something there in that park, right behind right field fence up there, we got a nice area there. So that's a key there, okay? Another one is building a concession stand / public restroom at that same park. It's all stubbed in with water and sewer. And what we'd like to see, since, you know, not worrying about selling concessions, but that field is being used Monday through Friday, every single night. Okay? There's a lot of people up there playing softball and baseball. And now we got this weekend tournament gonna be coming up here in August and in July, year-end tournaments. What I like to do is I like to have a nice, public restroom, just one restroom. It doesn't have to be a men's and women's, just one. But then I'd like to have a pet, so we can put a pop machine up there. Outside pop machine. We can make money up there, even if we don't have it, manned. People will buy pop and water and Gatorade. That would give us a nice thing where we can have electrical and have it right outside the building. We have an opportunity to make a little money on that, so that's something that needs to be looked at. Not saying particularly it has to be next year, whatever, but I'm just saying here down the road. Also, we gotta add to that playground in Meadowland Park. We got the first phase in. It's the second phase. We got the 5, what do we say? No, we got the 2 through 5-year-old system set up. Now we need to add the 5 through 12-year-old system on that Meadowland Park. That's probably another $35,000 to add that, okay? Or 40, just to add that piece. So that has to be added, Meadowland Park, that's Lamplin's addition. Also, out of Lamplin's additions, we're gonna put a volleyball court in there because of that big gas line, remember? We wanted to add a sand volleyball court out there. It's not a real big expense, but it's something that I think that we should really do and consider to get done out there. Next thing too is there's gonna be a blacktop walking path, which the school has got some grant that they're gonna do some upgrades to the school, and they're gonna put in a walking path where that old maintenance shop was at off the parking lot there by the Catholic Church. And right behind the football field, there's gonna be a walking path that comes all the way to about right where our modular is setting at Meadowland Park, and then Lamplin's gonna put in the culvert and the ravine, and then from our playground modular that sets there now, up between two houses where there's a right-of-way, that's gonna be a continuing walking path. So there'll be a path for them kids in Meadows to be able to walk all the way to school. Cause what they're doing right now, they're cutting in between yards of people, and they don't like it. People don't like it. I mean, there's a lot of kids that live up in that area. And that was designed, and that's when that whole area was designed for that path to be put in at some time. And then people that bought them houses know that the city, we have that 20-foot right of way, and that's gotta get done. So that's something here in the next year or two should be looked at. I do know that, Craig Durst, he's met with the school and given them a price for their end, and me and Craig and Teresa met here about a month or so ago out, and he was gonna get a price what it would cost the city on their property. So, I'll get that pricing, and I don't know what it would be, but, Lamplin's people would put it in, okay? And then the last thing too on that, just to let you know, I know if we complete that volleyball court and we complete that modular, Scott, I think, is willing to put the parking lot in for free. Blacktop, come off that road of 19th Street, put the blacktop in, and then make that nice little parking lot pad down there where it's
Try to
designed.
throw that path in too, huh?
I hope. I know, I kinda mentioned it.
Well, if it's been in the plan since the beginning, it's funny that some of
Yeah.
it wasn't in on that.
Yeah, I talked to Craig about that, I said, well, you know, he goes, well, that's Scotty. You gotta deal with Scotty on that. So, anyway, I got some talking to do with Scott, but anyway, but that's kinda the area of Meadowland Park, what we're thinking, okay? Because we can't really do a lot off that 50-foot right-of-way with that main gas line running through there. You know, they're really pretty stingy on what you put next to it or close to it, whatever, so, a nice little volleyball court would be good, okay? That's another thing, picnic shelter at Lions Park, we talked about this last month, excuse me. You know, you're looking at probably maybe $25,000 to $30,000 for a picnic shelter, and it's nothing, extraordinary, it'd probably be even smaller than the one we put at, on the west side. It doesn't need to be a very big one, but it's still gonna cost around 25 grand when you start building it and stuff. So that's a situation that we like to get up there by the playground modular down the Lions Park. You know, get something started, okay? So that's the thing. Signage at Meadowland Park, okay? We did these other parks, we need to get Meadowland Park signed too. Put a signage there. Nancy talked to me and Teresa talked to me, and it's real close to having a replacement of park pickup, replacement of the wastewater pickup, it's a replacement of Charlie's old pickup, they're getting close to 20 years old. So, I think 2003 Ford we have in our park department. So, you know, it's about 15, 16 years old, and so in the next couple, 2-3 years, there's probably gonna be maybe an expense of $20,000-25,000 to replace a pickup in our department, and all the other departments will have the same scenario, but anyway, we used to have a fleet program, we used to trade it in every 2-3 years, and we don't have that no more, so, but, which is fine, but I just wanted to get that out there, let people know. And then, of course, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with the tennis courts up to the North Park. That is bad.
It's shot, isn't it?
It's shot.
Yeah, that's right.
And I can't even get McBroom or anybody to even wanna come and wanna repair it anymore. They repaired it so many times, and we stuck 12 to 15,000 every time to fill in the cracks. It'll last for a year, maybe 2, and it'll just split open again. The base of the tennis court is completely shot. It's shot.
How in, so expensive.
And one court, now this is a double court, but one court with fencing, whatever, I talked to him here 2 weeks ago, you're looking at 80,000. One court, 80 grand, to do it right, to get it tiled, to put it in, to blacktop it, to get it painted, to put the fencing in.
Are you thinking of putting it on the same site?
Well, that's the thing that we'll have to discuss when we wanna do it. Now, I know that we plan on putting a court or something down at Lions Park.
That's what I thought.
Okay, but with the, do you see that the city may need more parking area in the summertime up there at the North Park? And it, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause you got the basketball court, and then you got the 2 tennis courts, and you got the parking lot. You can eliminate the whole basketball court and tennis courts and rebuild a basketball court in one single tennis court and add to the parking lot, or you can add all the way to the parking lot, put a basketball court, use that like what the school did, just put a basket up and utilize the parking lot for a basketball court. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have a separate thing. But that's something that we gotta decide. Do you think that we should add more parking to the North Park?
Hey, Ronnie, that base that's under the tennis court, would that support a parking lot?
Probably not. They're gonna probably, cause there's no, the way he drilled in and did some boring things, whatever, he said there's just nothing there. It's pretty much gone, so.
Black dirt.
Well, it was built in I went back and looked, and it was built in 1967, 68. Just when it was 68 or 67 or 68, the same thing time when, that old shelter was built, by their centennial or something like that. Yep.
So it's not a salvage, it's a tear
No,
out?
and the guy from McBroom, he says, let's face it, we live in Minnesota. He says, and I know, he says, that whatever, he says, you get 20 years out of a tennis court in Minnesota, that you're doing great, without having major problems. Anything over 20 years, he says, we're seeing it all the time. He said, then you're looking at total renovation, most of the time. What some people do, they take that plastic squares, they don't want to, re-dig up the thing, you know what I'm saying? They put plastic, like Dover Yoda High School did it. You went to Dover Yoda, they put these plastic square things in, and put it right over their blacktop, and played on that. But he said that don't last forever either. So he said, there's things that you can do, but he says, I just want to give you guys an opportunity, cause I told him, I said that's about the only thing up at the North Park that really we need to look at and redo, since I've been here almost 30 years, that's been there, and we haven't done anything. Haven't done nothing to it in 30 years. I started in '85 and it was built in '68. It was already almost to when I started.
Hmm.
Now, is that the same kind of court they use for that pickleball?
Yep, then we would have, we can convert that into a pickleball court, no problem. Pickleball courts, actually, their nets are just a little bit lower than a regular tennis court. Basically, they are. So, would a tennis court work? Yeah, it would work, and I don't think people would complain about it. But if you had your own pickleball courts, that would be nice too. You know, so.
Well, if they were at a pickleball tournament, then they would complain that this isn't the right height, so.
Exactly.
So that's, I think, where you'd have to keep the pickleball courts as a pickleball court.
Yeah. And that is the #1 upcoming sport in the United States, pickleball. Outdoes softball, outdoes everything.
I was out in Arizona year before last, and that's all people did,
Yep.
played pickleball.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it's not a younger
It's a
generation
huge thing
sport
over
though,
in
is it?
Wisconsin, huge in Wisconsin.
It's the.
Yeah, so are bratwurst.
Fat guys,
Yeah.
fat guy senior
But what it is
citizens, so many
basically,
people have gotta
it's
get on
an-
the next side or they're
it's
gonna die.
elderly, it's more of an elderly type game. The elderly people enjoy it more than playing tennis.
Sure, it's hard to play tennis with a walker.
Exactly.
Oh.
They actually use, you know, paddles.
Well, the retired population keeps going up.
Yep, it does.
Yeah.
They're gonna need something to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so, but anyway, there were kind of some of the things I just wanted to throw out there without getting into what's more important or whatever, but there are some kind of big items, just to let everybody know, and try to touch every part. Besides, I didn't write down the parking lot up at the soccer field, maybe converting them soccer field into 2 baseball fields. You know, I didn't put that down here, but that's something we should discuss big time and look at too, just because of all the kids playing ball. I mean, it's insane.
The one northwest of me.
Northwest.
Yeah.
Cause we can't even.
Yeah, that's
What do you,
under-
what do you
that's really
estimate it
under
costs
used.
for putting infields in there?
Well, that's a good question,
Backstop.
because I think what we'd end up having to do is, first of all, to put lime on an infield, you're gonna be looking at probably around $10,000. You need about 7 truckloads or 8 truckloads of that lime to do an infield at 60-foot bases. And it's $925 trucking from Elk River, and it's the only place where you can get it. So, you're looking at about 10 grand for each field, so you got 20,000, we do 2 fields, there's 20 grand just for the line. Then you got your backstop, and you got your first and third baseline fencing. So there you're looking at each field, probably the backstop runs you about 7,000, fencing, first and third baseline fencing, probably another 5 to 7, so you're looking about 15,000 in fencing. Okay, so now you got 30 on both fields for fencing, okay? So now you're looking at, 50,000 we're already right now. But, we'd have to buy the retractable fence, okay? And that's relatively pretty cheap. You can get that for probably about $1,500 for each field. So that's $3 grand. So you got the main components. You got the infield, you got your backstop, you got your first and third baseline, you got your outfield fence. The rest of it, you know, is grass. We can take care of that. So, I mean, you're looking at, probably to convert that over, Doug, which is a good question, you might be looking around 60 grand to do that conversion.
Per field or for two?
Oh, for both of them.
For both of them. Yep, 'cause the tile's already there.
The retractable you thought was 1,500 a field or?
1,500 a field, yep, yep.
I guess, you know, what we should do is, you've got all these projects, we should probably come up with some sort of a priority system.
Mm-hmm.
Cause from the sound of things, we certainly aren't gonna be able to do all of them.
We're not, and then like I said, this is over a period of time, we know that, you know what I mean, we know that. And we gotta figure out how we wanna spend our money, where we wanna spend our money, what project we wanna do.
And where it'll impact the most people.
Right, and kinda set a year, hey, this year we're gonna do this, next year I think we should do that, we should look at this. Kind of a bigger item, you know what I mean?
That also.
Like say that item, when we just put that picnic shelter in at Veterans Park, that's a big item, that's $35,000, that's a big item. So, okay, that's great, so now, next year, we should have a big item. And the next year, we should have a big item.
I think it's a good idea that start putting these, you know, we're up to 10 things there now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And
list them priority,
prioritize
one
them.
through 10,
Yeah.
what that next big item would be.
And I think, like I say, I can. I know I can. I know which parks get the, and I'll throw you money in, cause I'm there and I see what needs to be done and what really, whatever. But I want you guys to be involved in it too, you know, I want you guys to, you know, if you guys, particularly like Greg says, hey, you know, we spent so many years and money at the Lions Park. Are we gonna wait 7 or 8 years before we do anything to it? You know, I mean, is it fair for that park not to get something, you know?
Just to
that
kind of pick your brain a little bit,
Mhm.
now, what do you kinda think, would it be a pavilion in Lions Park, or would it be this field, or what kinda is your?
Well, to be honest with
You
you.
know, last meeting, the
Right.
field sounded more important
Right,
than anything, you know?
and to be honest with you, it is important, I hate to say that, I mean, I don't mean to hate to say that, that's not even the right word, but it is an issue, Doug.
Scratch that, Jan.
It is an issue, it's an issue. We don't have enough playing fields for the kids.
Yeah.
We
I think
don't.
that's a priority, actually.
And I think there's a lot of people that, like you say, something should happen at Lions Park.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I can see their,
Right, exactly. You know.
reasoning, or,
Yep.
you know, whether, you know, you plan on getting the Frisbee golf
Well, of
in
course, yeah.
this fall.
This fall,
You know,
so at
that's
least something's
something, at least
there.
that's, you know, something happened there then.
Right,
But,
but it's the truth though, you
Yeah.
know, we try to touch every park if we can, you know.
Say, Ron, would it make sense if I went back to the Lions and said that, we should probably hold on to some of this money and actually dedicate it toward putting a picnic shelter up at some point?
And you could, and you definitely could.
Just bank it for a while and, you
Mhm.
know, have that be one of our pet projects,
Mhm. Yeah,
rather than this piecemeal stuff.
true, you could,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
yep, yep, that's fine, yep.
And we'll just set up a dedicated account and continue to put, extra operating money into that and.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fine, that'd be great. You guys have taken hold of that park, and like I say, and Doug made a valid point, we're gonna put the Frisbee golf course, at least nothing, and we're gonna put some trees in, so at least, hey, we are doing something, you know what I mean?
Your guesstimate is about 35,000?
I
On
would
a
say to
picnic
put,
shelter?
probably not even that, probably 30, cause I think the one when we got done at the North Park was 35, with everything, electrical and everything, and we don't have to have it that big, you know what I'm saying, down
No,
there?
that's a pretty good size
That's
shelter.
a good shelter, so we can have it smaller, so I'd say between 25 and 30 would be a nice shelter.
Okay.
With cement pad and electrical and,
That's the message I'll go back with.
yeah. Yep.
Do you feel that if you get a park, and, at least you got a playground modular there,
Mhm.
okay, before you start putting in a tennis court, basketball court, something, you should have a shelter before that.
I do, because I
think
think
so,
the
too.
parents come there to watch the kids and.
The
it's
seniors
get
go there to
them-
watch the grandkids, and
Exactly.
that's kinda where I'm
And then there's
getting
no
at.
shade trees.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think the priority should be more towards the shelters.
Mhm.
Well, then we're gonna get some traffic at the park too.
Right.
Yep, and then when they get there, it's like, well, now then we can begin to pick,
Right.
you know.
I have seen parents drive in there though and have their kids out,
Yep.
on the
Mhm.
playground, I go, but, like you say, I spend a lot of time in the sun, I wouldn't go sit in the sun to watch kids.
No, no, you gotta have some
Yeah.
shade, and that's why we planted them trees, you know, right next to the plate, but it's gonna take years for them to grow up, you know?
So I think that's where you go, you look at the Lions, you look at, Meadowland, and you have no shelters there right now.
Nope.
You know, you take those two shelters priority over two ballparks? And this is, in my essence,
I don't think that, I think we do the ballpark, because there is in desperate need,
That's
I'm
gotta
not
be your
kidding you,
top
man,
one.
there's 1,000 kids playing baseball, and there's no practices, there's nothing. And these coaches call me every single
Okay,
day.
okay, so you do the ballparks, but don't worry about dugouts. You have a fence, you can put
Right.
put little aluminum bleachers, and that's where the kids sit.
Right,
'Cause I don't wanna get into, you say, well, now we need a dugout there, and
no, 'cause the dugouts are 15,000 a field.
that's what I mean, and that's where you're just.
Yep, so see, if you
Two
had
dugouts is a
60,000.
picnic shelter.
You had 60,000 to do the fields, like Doug was just asking the price, and you put 60,000 into them fields, then, yeah, I agree with you. Don't worry about the dugouts for now, that
Put a
can come
picnic
way
shelter
down
around
later
that
on.
field, by that field, there's your
Right.
dugout,
Right.
per se, to get
Right.
kids or parents out of.
Then look at the
Out of the
shelters.
sun.
look at the shelters, and then maybe look at that playground module over at, East Park. I think we need to do that, I do. Yep.
Yeah,
I
a
was
lot of
looking at
people
the-
on that edge too.
And
I was looking at the old picture up there that, on the other side of the, this is at North Park, the other side of your maintenance building, let's say the east side, can you put a basketball court on the east side of that building instead of the west side?
Maybe not, because it's really wet there, Greg.
Okay.
When it rains there, it's terrible. It is, and we lose our lawnmower, we sometimes can't even mow that area over there, 'cause it is really wet.
it's not visible,
You're right,
kinda.
yeah.
Well, but see, the basketball guys, they will go to where you build it. It's not like, oh, there's a
But remember, I like the school's idea, they just utilize their, parking lot.
Till somebody wants to park one car there.
Right.
At that point,
I think it would, if you put them in the right place,
Right.
you know, Thursday night, of course, ain't gonna float.
Ain't gonna float.
You know, but if you put it on the north side,
Mhm.
in the parking lot, any other night, they can play as much basketball as they want, except Thursday.
I'm just thinking, it's like, cause the
And that's
basketball
it.
court's gotta give first, if you can use that in any type of parking,
And
before you get to the tennis court.
like you say, that's a good point, you know, do we need to add to our parking lot?
What does it look like when the pool is full capacity? Is it a parking problem?
The only time that I think we've ever really had a parking problem is for festival, the fair, and, Big Iron Classic, because there's so many people around.
So it's not really the pool driven, it's a festival driven.
No.
So it's adequate parking then in that case, so we
Mhm.
really don't need to
Worry about adding.
worry about the basketball court and the tennis court for parking.
Right.
So in that case, you know, tear them out and build something right back in its place, or you know, something in that area.
Right.
Don't vacate that for a parking lot.
Right.
So, now whether it's, how often is the tennis court used?
A lot.
SQ gets used a lot.
I walk up
You'd
there a
be
lot,
really
there's
surprised.
people playing there.
A
Okay.
lot.
Cause that, you know, and that's the thing is, for a court that only utilizes 4 to 8 people versus, something else that will accommodate a lot more, especially for the cost, the square footage. I'm not against tennis at all, 'cause I played tennis in college, not on a team, but just,
So that would be at the bottom of the list then,
yeah.
you know, compared to usage.
But here's the
Use-
deal,
yeah.
here's the deal that I look at. Sooner or later, that court
We
is gonna
have-
keep deteriorating
Right.
worse.
We'd have to
You're
close
not
it.
gonna
Worse,
be able
we'd
to
have to
play.
do something, eliminate or
Well,
tear it down.
pull the fences out and take it out and, but eventually it could be, I don't wanna say gravel, but, you know,
But if
still
we-
have a plan to
but
have
I will
a.
tell you this, if we eliminate it, and we don't have nothing there, and we don't replace it with one,
Right.
people will come unglued.
So we need to,
It's
so we need
just
to.
like the ball field out there at the school, when they eliminated the baseball field. I just talked to him, Mark Matuska, he's had nothing but calls and complaints
Oh,
about it.
yeah, definitely.
Well, I
So
can-
once you have something, you eliminate it.
Good, if he.
So in this case, we should put a tennis
Yeah,
court
he
in
has-
somewhere
I
before
talked to
we
him the
tear
other
out the
day.
old one.
Good, he,
See, and that's-
he
And
deserved it.
and guess what, they're gonna put a new one in.
Are they?
Yep, the JV field. They applied for a grant, just to let you guys know, and the new grant came out beginning of the year here in June for their fiscal year. And I think they got quite a bit of money, and the way I understand, they're gonna blacktop the football parking lot, all of it.
Jeez.
They're gonna build a new baseball field, junior high baseball field up by one of the soccer fields. They're gonna retile all the soccer fields and redo the soccer fields. They're gonna, put all new lights on the varsity baseball field, new lights on the, girls softball fields. And there was another big project yet too. They're gonna spend $500,000 for upgrades.
No cost to the taxpayers.
None, it was a grant.
Do it.
Wow.
To hurry and do it.
Hurry and do it, so I can see it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's their key. So that was just.
Why don't they
out
put it
there.
in a tennis court then?
And you think you're not
No,
paying
no
for it?
sport.
Not
Huh?
school.
And you think we're not paying for it?
I know it. Roundabout way we're paying for it.
So my dad is over at Lions Park. Carter, has he decided what he's gonna build there yet? Cause if it's gonna be a senior citizen kind of
I don't
place.
think planning and zoning's gonna allow him to put townhomes in there because of the flood zone. Yeah, I talked to
God, you
Teresa
pay
about
out of
that.
this rear end
And
In where?
insurance.
right by Lions Park there behind that, that's a flood
The
zone.
land that he didn't
So
give us,
what-
cause he's gonna kept it for himself, where we were gonna put
So
a
what's he
park.
gonna do with it then?
Yeah, that would just be a matter of the elevation,
Right, and
as
it's
long
like,
as you
it's in the
build it to where
floodplain.
we're.
Yeah, it's in the floodplain, I guess.
But if it's in the floodplain, he'll get, insurance will kill him.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we got
But
25
floodplain
square
will
feet
be
in our
elevation.
building and
You just
But-
gotta fill it
Flood
to
fringe.
above that elevation.
But you gotta
Mhm.
go through FEMA and everything to change that. Flood
FEMA
zone.
plus
Mm.
DNR because
Oh.
there's a cliff there.
Yeah.
it's not just floodplain, it's flood fringe as well.
Oh, so that's
I got a
kind of
feeling
gone
that
then.
land might sit
So I
there
was
for a while.
thinking we should see if we could
Can we
make
get a
like a tennis court in
tennis
that
court?
area and stuff, if there's gonna be elderly people around that area, make that park more.
We've got the basketball planned court for Lions Park planned up there.
Mhm.
Yeah. And tennis
When that
court
would
I was
happen,
thinking too.
I may not see that, but.
That was a thought, but now that
Well, we
he's
gotta
not
come
gonna
up
be
with a
able to
plan.
build something, then that's,
Yeah, cause it,
Yeah.
we talked about a comprehensive plan, you know, you've been
Mhm.
seeing it on Facebook, and the city's been spending money to get that
Yeah.
all involved, and we already met with a comprehensive planner already.
yeah.
And our big thing is, the park is huge for the comprehensive plan, we're talking trails and upgrades and all that stuff for our parks. And that's part of the big thing of this comprehensive plan that the city has spent a lot of money on to see what the future for the city's gonna be in the next 20 years, 40 years.
Right.
So,
Your window was down.
Oh, it is raining. No, my son is at baseball, I was hoping that he was going to get him. Sorry, guys.
As long as he's not running around with aluminum batting.
Oh, good. He's on his way there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
so, anyway, but you're
Well,
right, oh, we
you know,
need to
get- you know,
pretty much put something
We should,
together.
you know, just put our heads together at one of the next meetings and just say, okay, here's an idea, put it down, come back, meeting later, say, okay, take another look at this. I mean, don't settle on the first one we do.
Because we're gonna have to come up with one item, I think, for this coming 2018 budget.
Do you think Lamplin and the school would wait for, I mean, we don't know what our cost would be for that.
Of that continuation bike
Yeah,
trail thing yet?
yeah.
Not yet, but I know he's
But I
gonna give
mean,
it to me.
But I mean, when they wanna do it, they wanna do it.
They wanna do it.
don't wanna wait for,
No.
oh, we're gonna put ours in and the city
Right.
doesn't put theirs in.
Right.
So like that thing, we'd have to do it. when they're
Mhm.
gonna-
Yeah.
Like these other things can be, you know, numbered out.
That might be you might be right.
Shannon, what are you
on that.
thinking? You're pretty quiet.
I don't know. I think tennis court is important.
I do too, that's, I
You
really
know,
think
we're
that's.
why should we continue to put baseball fields in when tennis is as important to others as soccer or baseball is to others? You know, we can't just support our kids, we've got adults in our community too.
I think we
And
do a
that's
survey in the
hard.
paper and find out what it is.
What paper?
You're gonna find that
Well,
more
what paper,
you,
but I mean,
yeah,
Who
what
gets it?
you know,
paper?
what does the
Who reads
community
it
want?
now?
Who gets it?
You know, what's the community want? Do they want a tennis court, or do they want ball fields, or do they want,
Well,
you
that's
know,
gonna come
whatever.
down to, is there more
Yeah.
young families and
So
more
soccer
elderly that are
players or
gonna come
baseball
back?
players
Yeah.
or,
Yeah, I mean,
Youth is gonna
you know,
override.
we're here for the city, we're not here what we really
Right.
think, I mean, we're
Right,
trying to do what we,
exactly,
what
trying
is
to do
right.
what they want.
But, you know, there's a lot of stuff there, where do you start?
That's what I mean.
You know, I mean, she's right, you know, tennis court
Mhm.
is a
Yeah.
thing, baseball's a thing, you know,
They've been
Lions
sitting there
Park,
a long time.
it's all over, you know,
Well,
it's all over.
I think, Ronnie has said it time and time again,
Yeah.
it's the kids we're doing it for, it's the youth that
Yeah.
the ball fields are for.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it-
Yeah, that is, yeah, but we're not just, our city is not just for kids.
Right.
We don't have any kind of tourism here. Why would anybody come visit Cass in Minnesota?
You know why you come to Casson, Minnesota?
Why?
It's quality of life.
Well,
And a great
okay.
place.
So watch your grandkids
And a great
play
place
ball.
to
Yeah,
raise.
my grandkids don't live here.
That's why you
They're
come.
gonna have to.
Right, watch your
But-
grandkids play ball and hockey.
Still, I mean, you know, we could get some activities going on here too. I always thought a mini golf would be awesome to get something like that here in town,
Mhm.
you know? We've got the hotel,
True.
so
And Fulton
what
Fire.
could they do?
Mhm.
You know, they're not gonna play soccer.
Well, someone just sent me an email that they wanna see a handicap playground.
that's been,
Now, do you know what a handicap playground costs?
We've
A
had-
lot
We went
of
through
money.
that.
We've had, yeah.
$350,000.
I think we
That's been
talked about that
discussed.
6 or 7 or 9 years ago.
Pat Dibble came here, remember?
mhm,
That was
That's
when we were
right.
just changing Lions Park over.
mhm.
But that's still out there.
It's a lot of money, but we do need things like that as well.
Is that something you could apply for grants for?
I think we almost have to get
Yeah.
grants, you get Mayo, you get whoever involved,
You know,
you can't rely on your taxpayers to,
There's foundations out there. My niece has a child that's handicapped, and
Mhm.
she, applied to a Suzy Foundation in Arizona to get a handicapped bike for her daughter. Her daughter sits in the wheelchair that's attached to the bike, and the adult rides the bike. That was her first bike ride ever, and she was 17 years old.
mhm.
And without
There
getting
it is,
that,
yep.
she would, and they went on someplace and went to vacation and went on to this handicap park, and she said it was awesome. She said, I wish we had it in our town too. You know, so we need to think about things like that too, you know. Not just physical, but there's mental handicap too,
Mhm.
you know. Somebody that's 15 maybe has the mental capacity of a 2-year-old or something, you know, so they're gonna wanna swing or something like that too. We've got other options besides just our sports.
Mhm.
We got parks, we gotta have more than just sports. Think about it that way.
Mhm.
But
Are
think
you gonna
about-
go out for
Think about
sports?
some of the good things this city's done. Take a look at that library. Take a look at a lot of things that have happened. We have a lot of things to be proud of.
Right.
I mean, it isn't, you know, we're anguishing over trying to do everything for everybody. I think honestly, the city's done a terrific job.
Mhm.
And they're getting maximum mileage for their money that they're spending.
Well, we don't get people coming here like Manaville does. We need to get something like Manaville has too, to get people to come to our city. Stop into our stores, pick up something at our stores, you know, go to our parks. We need to get a little bit of tourism as well, I think.
We got two big draws in this town, one being the school,
And they what?
the second thing being Mayo. And that brings people to Casson.
In the small community feel.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have,
Get big.
essentially, we've got some retail business, but that's it. Some small manufacturing out here, that TriStar or a few of those things, but not anything like other communities have.
I know.
It'll come here at some point. The question is, you know, long time ago, Jeff Stevenson was the mayor. And he said, you know, we can make a choice whether we want a smokestack economy or we want quality of life. And he said, I'm more for quality of life. And that's the direction we went.
We have good quality of life, but we also need some special things, parks too, though. We need more than just sporting parks, I think. That's my opinion.
Mhm.
I mean,
I
I'm
totally agree
not
with
gonna
you.
go out for soccer. My grandkids don't live here, so I'm not gonna go watch them at soccer. I'm
You
not gonna
start
watch them at
soccer, I'll
baseball.
start too.
My husband doesn't work here in town. I work here in town, but he doesn't, you know, so we need to get some things going. So why couldn't, you know, like pickleball, that's getting to be pretty popular.
It is.
So I think something like that, and the tennis court, that's gonna be for your older people too. And some younger people like to play tennis.
Mhm.
So I think something like that is pretty much important, as well as those soccer fields or baseball fields.
How much money have you got to spend next year?
Well, it's hard to say, I mean, it depends on what the council gives, but in the
Doug,
previous
how much
years, they've
money have they
always,
got to spend next year?
they usually give us around 55,000 for capital improvement, around 55,000 a year, and they've been doing that pretty continuously the last 5 years.
But
Besides our
what's
budget.
happened to our population over the last 5 years?
Well, it's grown, but not really particularly
About
a lot.
10% a year or so?
No.
No? 8?
No, it's not even that.
Last year they have 40-some building
Yeah.
permits,
Yeah.
and that was a record, I mean, that was way higher than it had
Than
been the previous
yeah.
year. But
It's
this
usually
year,
up
this
there.
year could be close to it again.
It could be
Yeah, I was
close
gonna
to
say
it.
So if you wanna
Yeah.
take 4, that's probably a little much, even taking 4 times the building permits, you know, for where your
Right.
population went up.
Right.
So is your budget kept track with the way the community's going, and is it adjusted for inflation?
Yep.
Okay.
They make the adjustments for, personnel, they make the adjustments for, I have to make the adjustments for, you know, like if things are gonna go up, we put a little inflation part in on what it's gonna cost for certain things. Like the pool budget will have to come up more because chemicals go up in price and stuff just goes up in price, that's just the way it is.
And then you gotta take care of the poop days.
Yeah, you know, so, I mean, that's all I mean, and Nancy does a great job on that, she really truly does, I mean, so. And then the money that we don't use, of course, you know, gets thrown back into the general coffers, back into the reserve fund, so when something does need to come to the city on an emergency basis, they have that money to be able
Sure.
to use it, you know? You know, so it is what it is, but, we try
Now,
to,
do you,
we try to budget as close as
this
we can.
process, do you place a request for a certain amount of dollars?
Yes, I do, because normally, now I'm not saying that the council could be very nice to us and say instead of 55, maybe they give us 75 this year. Maybe next year they give us 55, depending on what their levy is, or how much money they have, or whatever.
And what you come to them with as far as projects?
Then when I come to it, like Doug says, I'll come with these projects that are really absolutely needed, cause some of them projects also gotta be repairs. Because if you repair a fence, it's gonna cost you $4,000 or $5,000 to repair it.
Mhm.
And that is a lot of money, which, you know, on a budgeted line, you don't really add that in there, you know, because you do your daily repairs and maintenance on the budget
I'm
line.
just trying to understand how you
Yep.
get,
How you get to
to
that
where you're
point.
at, what you're asking.
So you gotta kinda pick and choose, so when I go into the budget committee, I'll sit down and I'll have 7 or 8 things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 listed. What I feel is what needs to be done, and say, this is the first thing that's gotta be done. We need to get this, we need to get that. Then what the committee will do, they'll sit down with the members and they'll decide which is, how much money they're gonna give me, how much on capital improvement, and then this is where, out of them capital things that I give them, I'll try to figure out which I can spend my 55,000 on. And that's basically how it works, okay? And when we do our comprehensive plan, it's on a 20-year type plan, where they'll say, okay, park department's gonna get capital improvements of 55,000 in 2017. They're gonna get another 55,000 in 2018. You know what I'm saying? And they'll go years out, so they'll at least know that, hey, when they're pre-planning on capital improvements, but they don't realize that all of a sudden we have a big project, like say blacktop in a parking lot's gonna cost $100,000. When does that get justified, and when does that get put in the capital improvement line? When do we make a decision, when the council makes a decision, when that has to be done? Because that 55,000 ain't gonna cover that 100,000, or that 55,000 ain't gonna cover an $80,000 tennis court. That's where the council comes into play with the capital improvement and the comprehensive plan of how much money they wanna spend on a certain project.
Mhm.
They have to decide. Now, we can bring it, and we can have a plan, and we as a park board can put it together, but at the end, the council's the one that makes and decides what's gonna get done. And that's how it is.
Now, do you do any partnering with, some of these projects?
Partnering, the only partnering that we do is have joint ventures with, whatever, so I can go to the joint ventures group, and, I can ask for a fencing project, and they'll say, hey, no problem, we'll give you $10,000 this year to do your fencing, and it'll come out of the joint ventures money. But the joint ventures money, remember, it gets budgeted through the park. So, if I budget $10,000 for joint ventures, it's coming out of our park money. Okay, here's the deal. City of Manorville might have a project that's gonna cost them $15,000 to do dugouts. If the joint ventures board agrees with the mayors and everything to say, okay, we're gonna help take care of Manorville's project this year, that $10,000 that I put in, that's gone. I don't see it. See what I'm saying? But it's $25,000 a year. We put 10 in, school district puts 10 in, Manorville puts 5 in.
Do you do any partnering with the private sector?
Nope. Nope.
Is
Nope.
it, are you allowed to do that?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No. Can't go out and really try to solicit funds.
I got,
They can apply for grants.
the reason I was asking that question, we're talking about that picnic shelter for the
Mhm.
Lions Park.
Mm-hmm.
Now, say I found, somebody that would share that with the Lions. Is that a problem?
No, that'd be great, on your behalf, then you guys get that together and you come to me and say, here's $5,000. We got together with this group and here's money for you. No problem.
Okay.
Just like the Legion does, like if we're gonna do that war memorial, the Legion can give us and donate the money towards to the park department and say, here's $5,000 to go towards that project. But I basically can't really go and beg for money.
As a public employee?
Right.
Okay, but I could,
Well, yeah, maybe you could.
with your blessing.
So,
Yeah, don't stop till you get 100,000.
but that's really how it works. And then when you talk about projects and you talk about money and you're talking about whatever, it really comes down to having a decent comprehensive plan, but it comes down basically, when it comes to the big dollar ones, about, will the council, do they wanna go above and beyond the 55 and give you 100 to get that project done? It would be based on their decision.
Okay.
Yep. Okay?
Anything else? All right, we'll move down to old business then, the movies in the park.
I thought Janet, hey, give Janet an update on the movies, or Janet, or I know, I haven't went to one yet, but, so far so good, things been going good, everything's been going good.
First night was cold,
Okay,
but we had a pretty good
Yeah,
amount,
there
still
were about
about
35 or so people
okay,
there.
how'd the last one go here, just,
It was more,
there was more?
yeah,
Okay.
the fire department put it on, so they were there, had popcorn and had hats, and
Well, that was nice,
so there was more people there
good.
and stuff, and he had changed the direction of his screen a little bit, and
Did that
was
work?
nice.
That
Mhm, it
worked
worked.
good? What
Yeah.
time did they start the movies, 9?
About 9:30,
Yeah,
eventually
9:30.
it starts.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's not over till about 11, so it gets
Mhm.
late,
It does.
okay,
but,
The days are shortening up now.
Right, and that makes a difference,
yeah.
you know, now they'll start early.
So now the next one's Fiesta
A
Festival?
week from Friday,
A week from this
the
Friday.
28th or whatever it
28th.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
You know what's showing?
Brave.
Brave is the next one. And that's
Okay.
just like home in
And then it's the festival, and then it's done.
Charlottesville, yep.
Okay. Sounds
Cool.
good.
I see nothing on the agenda. How, the ice arena, they booked solid then with the, Ian Cole and Rochester?
Yeah, what they did, I think, for this fair, they put the boards down today to cover the ice, and that'll be utilized until Sunday. They'll take the boards back up on Sunday.
It was just being said they're gonna be shut down in Rochester, so they had extra stuff coming here this summer that all came out that way?
I think Howie's got some big camp going on right now with a bunch of kids, I think, right now. I can't remember what it's called.
Silver goblets.
The Goblets, yeah, or something, camp, whatever, so, yeah, he's got it pretty much full during the day, yeah,
Good.
yeah. Of course, now they'll take a week off because of, the fair and stuff, so, yeah.
Yeah, I stopped in and talked to Howie a week and a half ago. Just went to the dentist, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to work, and it was hot, so they had, figure skating, Rochester figure skating had the ice.
Okay.
So I talked to Howie quite a bit, and it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
Been a while since I've been in there, but with the,
Painted
the new
bleachers
roof
and
and the
new roof.
painted bleach, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So walked down by the locker rooms, and that looks nice down in that area. I was looking to try to pick something apart, but I couldn't.
Yep.
Did you go in the bathroom?
I did not, I peed on the ice. I mean, no, I didn't go in the restrooms to look and see, but,
That's on record, you know.
I know, Channel's like, that's okay, go ahead, kick me off the board. Go check your cameras. But no, I didn't stop in the restroom, so. Didn't know if I should go into the girls' can or not.
He's been pretty busy, really. It's been pretty full.
Other than that, I
Okay,
don't
He's the one
anything
that
else
had
for
something, huh?
correspondence?
I was up at the,
Nothing?
and I guess I could've brought stuff on the
You didn't want to
park,
add anything?
No.
the North Park, East Pavilion,
No, he's been
the
busy.
receptacles, 'cause 'cause as if there's somebody that rented out the area. The GFI receptacles do not work on on the northeast platform. Now, I didn't try on the back side of that, on the south side of it,
Probably just a breaker, I'll have to. either
because I tried some of the
breaker or-
GFIs and there was nothing.
Yeah, it's
The
probably
pole
just
ones
a
worked.
breaker. Okay, someone's gotta tell me that if they're not,
Okay.
because I don't check them weekly.
And that's,
'Cause usually,
and this is a case whereas this person rented the building, it's like, well, they're trying to plug in the crossway, so we got no power. I'm like, well, I had a fan, I'm like, well, the pole ones work, but they don't have an extension cord, so they had to move it to the east side of the north side where
Normally,
they worked.
I just can't afford to unlock that breaker box because just people come in there
I
and
know,
check it, room switches.
but if it's, and that's the case, somebody came around, I don't know, I wasn't there, but, came around, wanted to know if they could take, 'cause, we had brought up a big bag of cotton candy, bagged cotton candy in a black bag, they thought it was a garbage bag, and whoever from the city came around and said, "You want me to take your garbage for you?" I was a city employee, or just a nice patron going by, and so I could, and I said, "No, this isn't garbage, this is cotton candy in here." It's like, oh,
It was city employee.
okay. Which was good, I'm glad that was asked, because,
Mhm.
a couple of people commented, like, that was nice that somebody's around checking, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna rent it out, just make sure all the power works, because
Yeah, we have.
that could inconvenience a picnic pretty quickly if you don't have power on the stainless
Oh,
steel
yeah.
tables for crock pots and
Yep,
stuff, so.
yep.
So anyways, there.
I'll look at that tomorrow.
And yes, I saw the tennis courts, or the volleyball courts and the horseshoe pits, they look nice, look like it's okay, what's going on up here, because they're just too smooth to where it was, somebody up there.
Get them done ahead of time. Mhm.
All right, nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Next meeting is?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It'll be in September.
It'll be in September, yeah.
September.
Yep,
Look at that.
September 19th.
September, huh? September 19th?
Yeah, September 19th. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Is it raining out yet?
Anybody wants to go?
Yep.
Do I have a second? All right,
Still raining.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, meeting adjourned.
Must have got quite a shot here in town.